So hey guys, today we're taking a quick look at Miscrits, and essentially, the late game of this game, we're going to click on this one specific item. We're going to see that this is in fact not the guy we were looking for, and then we hit the nice run button here, and then we wait till this cooldown wears off. 5, 4, 3, 2, and the little trick is you can click a little bit faster than the cooldown thing shows up. So didn't find the guy. If we want to farm some coins, we could, I guess, murder that miscrit before the cooldown is finished here. And then we just keep on doing this. And in this case, I'm looking for another copy of this guy, hopefully to get a better stat spread, because there's the equivalent of like IV and IVs and EVs and that type of thing. So yeah. Right now I have animations turned off just to make this kind of go faster, kind of optimize, you know. But yeah, this is Miscrits to an extent. But all right, let's take a break from just mindlessly farming for a bit. So essentially, what Miscrits is it's a monster collection type game where we collect our monsters and we can use them to do battles, I guess. So right now there's not a super whole lot going on, but that's mostly because I guess this is kind of a recreation of the original Miscrits, and it seems they now have the rights to kind of do this, so now it's legal, as you can see it being mentioned here. So yeah, despite this originally being kind of, I guess, like a fan recreation of the game, it is now legal and able to be played, from my understanding. So you won't like lose your data randomly because of a lawsuit, so that's great, I guess. So what we're going to mostly talk about is going to be PvE and PvP. So PvE right now is not like super interesting. There's usually like some sort of gimmick for progression, or intended gimmick for you to kind of use to progress through the different areas, that or you can like kind of brute force with really high level miscrits and kind of just keep retrying over and over again until you win, I guess. So we're going to be talking about combat in general, I guess, so we'll just go here. So we have quite a few moves. So unlike Pokemon, your Miscrit is able to use every move that it has ever learned. And we have status moves, we have physical moves, and we have elemental moves. So the elemental system, pretty simple. So essentially, if you are effective against another element, you do extra damage. I think it's like double damage if you have advantage. If you have no advantage, it's just always neutral. And then if you're weak into what you're attacking, that is going to be half damage, I believe, or something like that. So not 100% sure, but it is true either way that you have advantage or disadvantage. So speaking of PvP, well, the most important thing I think right now to worry about might be, potentially, aside from like high quality miscrits, it's going to be statuses. So the statuses in this game are completely brutal. So the strongest status I have is specifically on Blighted Afterburn here, with the Complete Confusion. Confuses your opponent so that they may attack themselves for 3 turns. So this will randomly make my opponent use a random move out of their entire move pool. And then it'll randomly decide between hitting my miscrit and then their own, so they can hit themselves. Or they can hit me, or they can use a buff move on themselves. Or they can debuff themselves. I don't think they can actually buff your miscrits, but yeah, Complete Confusion essentially removes your opponent's ability to control their miscrits for 3 turns. And that would allow me to go like Blighted Bash, Bash, and then Blighted Bash again, because in PvP, there is a cooldown on specifically your moves. So you can only use a move every, I guess, 2 turns. So we activate this. That counts as 1 turn, I guess. I guess so. Well, essentially your moves are on cooldown for 1 turn, so you have to use something else. So you can't just spam like Blighted Bash or Complete Confusion. Speaking of Complete Confusion, this has like a 3 or 4 turn cooldown or something like that. But this can actually be bypassed if I switch to a different Miscrit, which is a thing. And then the other thing that's really concerning me personally, I guess, is speed is really jank in this game. So speed, if you manipulate it for some reason, I'm not 100% sure on the details on this, but if I were like on Blighted Afterburn, my opponent does a thing, I can swap into maybe, let's say, Stomp Bridge here, because it's a lot faster, and then I get to double attack or something, like, or take a double turn, or take 2 turns versus my opponent's like 1 turn here, despite me switching and everything. Like, don't really get that, but apparently for optimal PvP stat spreads, you want something like greens and then a red speed stat, which is kind of obnoxious to hunt for. But I'm pretty sure I have some. I just need to find them. But, yeah. That's one of the things, I guess, that I want to mention. And then the other thing is that if we look at the capture percent number, we can actually tell the quality in general. So 34% I think is like a B, I think. So we can just attack this guy and then lower him to the capture threshold. And we can kind of use this to gauge how good a guy will be, right? So this, we'll keep him for now. Was this a B? Yeah, it's a B, all right. So based on the capture percentage, you can kind of figure out what I guess the stat spread on the Miscrit will be, and that would be like the green stats and the red stats, and this affects to some extent the stats. I'm not really sure how much right now, but yeah, it affects the stats overall, and you get better stats if you have more well, if it's a green stat, I guess. So the red stat here is going to be the elemental attack, elemental defense, physical attack, physical defense, speed, and then health, and you can kind of click on this to check the bonuses. So in this case, it's showing the, I guess, stats read for this. So this is, I got 20 bonus stats from leveling up, I believe. That's what this is. And then 14 elemental, 17 physical, and all that. I mean, the stat spread here is like fine, and then your stats from relics, and then your overall stats. So that's what that is. And I guess there's also a breeding mechanic which you unlock later, but it's not that important because it's kind of really hard to utilize and takes a lot of time. So not really going to bother going over that, I guess. But yeah, in general, I think right now, I don't know if I could really recommend this game personally, like in good faith, because mostly I don't really like the PvP that much. I can see some people that might, but main thing about it is it feels a bit too sacky with how statuses work. But of course, if you sacrifice a relic slot, so relics, essentially there's a shop in town where you can buy relics, and then with those relics you can get stat increases and also immunities to certain statuses, confusion being the most disgusting one. So you can technically be immune to confusion, but it's not something I would have at this stage of the game. I think it costs like 108 platinum or something, so that's not great, but the game is not pay to win and it's just fairly grindy. So for example, I guess I haven't really covered it yet, but If I keep clicking on this, I probably won't find one of these guys from this clicking this collar, because the rate for me to see this guy is 0.6%. So you can tell by the color here, the rarity of the Miscrit. So here, this one is exotic, which is 0.6. This is legendary, which is 0.1 approximately, right? And then I believe for rare, it's like 4%. And then this is epic, which you can find at 1%. And then commons are just like everything else. So it's probably like 90% or something. So that's how the game works, I guess. And the elemental, I guess, the elemental advantages, you essentially have 2 weapon triangles. I guess you can think of it like that. So fire beats grass, and then grass beats water, water beats fire, and then we have wind beats lightning, right? And then earth beats lightning, and then wind beats earth. So yeah, that's essentially how the game works, I guess. And we could go a bit more in depth if you guys are interested. But yeah, for the most part, I'm still trying to learn how to PvP a little bit. But yeah, my impressions on PvP are not that super great. But what is interesting though about PvP is specifically, I don't know if this is for default arena as well, but all of your Miscrits are kind of assigned a value based on rarity, and you can only go up to a rarity of 12 in the arena, so you can't just like spam out a bunch of super high rarity Miscrits and kind of roll over other people like that, and it adds some variety to team building. So let's see, this would be 5, I believe. 4, 2, 3, 1. So the rarities are assigned a value, and they add up to they should add up to 12 or lower. That's essentially how it works. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.